You know, I guess we were due. Season 8 and Season 9 have been so legitimately good for the most part that surely at some point or another we were going to run into a dry batch. This is Season 9, Episode 10, Going to Seed, the episode in which Big Mac is made fun of the entire episode while doing all of the actual work, rather than, everyone else who is all being a dick to him and them because of stupidity. One moment, please. Okay, sorry, I had to finish typing some stuff up. I do apologize. Every season has its dry spells, and here we are! I actually agree with you, Imperial Star Destroyer. They probably had, maybe 15-ish, maybe 10-ish episodes, which they were like, okay, this is what we're doing for Season 9. And then they were like, okay, what else do we put in there? Because this happens for every show I've covered. Every Star Trek show, Babylon 5, and some of the other shows I've looked into. This is what happens. Is they come up with X number of episodes, and then they're like, okay, now we need to fill in these other ones, because we need to do 24 or whatever episodes in this season. And in some cases, they just take whatever. As we get to Enterprise Season 3 stuff, you'll hear me start to talk about why Enterprise Season 3 sucks so badly. It is effectively this, but it's actually even worse than what I'm talking about right now. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing right now. You'll get there, but they were really hungry for scripts in Enterprise Season 3, and it freaking shows. So, Big Mac is super tired because he was up late making a schedule for the harvest. Feel that one. I have stayed up late twice this week trying to get my work done. Nice to see the Apple family in general, though. We haven't actually seen the group of them for a bit. And it makes sense that they're busy at the school, so they can't help, so that makes sense. And then Goldie shows up. Okay? Two things immediately. One, why did you bring your cats? Two, how is she going to help? Now, don't mistake me. Okay, I get it. Sure. There is such a thing as morale help. There's such a thing as keeping you company while you work. Something my sister will do semi-often when I'm doing the really hard, lifting tree trunks kind of work in the backyard, is she'll just be there to keep me company. Because otherwise it's just lonely, boring work. So, okay, valid. But there's an important thing there in that I'm still actually doing work at the time. And I'm not even going to mention all the other people that could have been called in here. Let's just ignore that for a second. So then they talk about the Great Seedling. In a setting where ponies have near total mastery over their environment, the idea of something like the Great Seedling doesn't really surprise or bother me. There's a particular earth elemental that roams around, blessing things with magical growth. Okay, sure, I'm with that. None of that bothers me. But the episode slants it pretty hard that this is just a thing the kids do because it's fun. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm going to cover that in just a second, too. Nevertheless, it makes me wonder why the ponies, with the level of mastery that they have, don't have this kind of a thing. Maybe they could. Maybe with sufficient influx of magic and control and environmental setup and whatever. Maybe they could literally just set up a perpetual harvest. I can imagine why they wouldn't do that. It's actually very easy to imagine why they wouldn't do that. Because all you have to do is imagine the ridiculous amount of work that goes into harvesting a farm, And then make that every day instead of just once per season. So, that tracks. I'm with that. It's just food for thought. It's also the only thing I didn't really talk about the whole episode, so enjoy that for what it is. So Goldie apparently super believes this. Apple Bloom gets into it. Okay. And by about the 10-minute part of the episode, I am 100% on Applejack's side in all this. And you're probably thinking, oh, you just don't believe in silly stuff. Well, no, I don't. But more to the point, Applejack is 100% fine with Apple Bloom just having fun. She's actually supportive of her throughout this thing. She's like, yeah, sure. The problem is, Applejack is also concerned with the far more practical matter of the fact that there's actual work to do, which is on a deadline, by the way. There's a reason why the harvest has to happen within a set period of time, right? That's a thing. So, okay. You go have fun, but we do need to get some work done. And the episode very quickly shows that Applejack and Big Mac are the only ones doing any work. Apple Bloom is off having fun. Granny is barely doing any work, and doing it slower than she would. Goldie is actively getting in the way of work being done. Okay. Maybe this is just the manager in me talking, but I actually disagree with that because that's actually probably the worker in me talking. Because I'd probably be Big Mac in this scenario, and I'd be furious. Then, the next day, this is when the episode loses me. Up until now, it's like, okay, whatever. Then we have Goldie be a dick. And I find myself wondering if this particular author just has a thing with Rule Zero violators. You ever wonder that? Because we've got Newbie Dash, which, okay. Flutterbrudder, which is the closest thing to a lamentation we've ever had. Where the Apple Lies, which was whatever. And Parent Map, which is actually okay. But the point is, of these, Dave Rapp is the author, just tends to lean towards Rule Zero violators as a narrative trope. Goldie is a straight-up dick in this episode, consistently. A dick to Applejack, and more importantly, a dick to Big Mac, the one doing the lion's share of the work. And Granny backs her up, which pisses me off too. So, okay. Whatever. I actually wrote down the line, if that's your brother's best, we might be in trouble. That's smack territory right there, I'm just saying. Meanwhile, Applejack is a responsible and mature adult. She says, tell you what, Apple Bloom, obviously you're into this. Obviously this is something you're excited about. No problem. We do have a lot of work to do. So we'll get our share of the work done today, and then we'll go ahead and play about it later. That's what she effectively says. Get the work done first, we'll play afterwards. I've made this exact same deal with my niece several times. I got work to do, but later tonight, we'll go hang out and play and do whatever. Cool? Cool. With that. And yeah, Applejack is actually pretty legit for most of this episode. And Apple Bloom doesn't fight around. Then we see a bit of a montage where Applejack's cool and everything's cool. And meanwhile, the episode slants towards Goldie being right several times. Then the episode tries to embarrass and humiliate Applejack by pointing out that she used to be big into this. Nice callback with baby Apple Bloom, by the way. Buttercup and Bright Mac. That was a cool scene. I actually like that. Then we drift into a montage where Applejack continues to do her friggity job while playing and encouraging Apple Bloom. And that's cool. I'm still with this. Big Mac continues to be the butt of the episode's jokes. By this point, we're up to 6 separate interactions of, ha ha, Big Mac is so tired, isn't that funny? Then we have a visual of them, okay, Applejack's done the work, now she agrees to go and help, so they do the thing. They go through, we have a nice, big, supportive, responsible adult approach to things, we still have a lot of work to do, yada, yada, yada. And then the episode's like, hey, check it out, the Great Pumpkin's real. Goldie is naturally immediately a dick about this. And then Applejack is running around not doing work anymore, and Big Mac is now at this point the only person doing a harvest on a farm by himself. It's played for laughs, of course. Now, the episode's already lost me. This is the point at which it started to piss me off. Because it's just, ha ha, look at him, he's so... And oh my god, we've actually found the great seedling. The great pumpkin's real. I mean, the great seedling's real. Holy crap. And then we find out it's been Big Mac this whole time, who has been sleep bucking. That's so funny. And then the episode ends on this is a super positive message episode. What? What? And it does. It ends on a kind of a da-da-da-da-da, boop, boop, everything's cool, it was all Big Mac. But wait, the great seedlings are real, because the carrots! And they do a freaking flash frame and everything. Ah. In the interest of fairness, we have to give away a continuity counter, because it earns it. We have to give a wah-wah. Actually, we need to give 2 wah-wahs. I forgot to update the thing here. Sorry, I was forgot to update this stupid thing. From the last episode and this one. And there's the continuity counter for the parents. To me, this episode sucks. It's not funny. It's actively rude. It is a dick. The episode itself is a dick, but within the episode, multiple characters are a dick, and get away with it without any kind of consequences or repercussions. And the episode slants it so the people being assholes are in the right. At least with Flutterbrudder, it was being made clear that Zephyr was in the wrong, right? Of all the many things I could say bad about that episode, at least it made the point that Zephyr was a dick, and that was a point of the episode. Here, Goldie is being practically praised for being correct about this whole thing, and the episode constantly pushes the idea that you should go and have fun and ignore your work. It's okay, someone else will do the work for you, and there's not even a call to task. There's no point at which Big Mac says, you know, I just did this whole thing by myself. That was awful. I'm gonna go take a week off. No, he just shrugs it off. Yeah, it's whatever, it was just me. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, Big Mac was working himself near to death in his sleep. Isn't that funny? Screw you, episode. I think blue is the ceiling here. Thoughts? Oh, wow, Imperial Star Destroyer. I still need to watch that show in the copious spare time I have. Ooh, Let me think about this for just a minute. So, the only positive thing I could say about this episode is that for half the episode, not the whole episode, Applejack is portrayed quite well. We talked about that. She's very in character, but more to the point, she is a responsible, mature adult. She approaches it how a parental figure should, and I'm actually in favor of that. But that's the only good thing I can say about the whole episode, other than a brief cameo kind of a deal. That's not great. At least Flutterbrudder did have some decently good character stuff for Fluttershy, right? What is required for a lamentation is that extra little oomph. And I think this has that for me. And I think it's partially because of how much it bothers me, because and this is a personal thing, I'll admit this, because I'm usually the Big Mac here. I cannot tell you how many times when helping friends out, or when moving, or when doing yard work, or when cleaning the house, or when doing the dishes, or at my job, or at my school, I was the one doing the work. Now, I don't really mind that, per se. I enjoy doing work, relatively speaking. I enjoy accomplishing things. But this episode so severely slanted against me, aka Big Mac in this situation, that I think is that extra little oomph that a lamentation requires. I do, yeah. He was injured and he couldn't do the bucking, so Applejack had to do it by herself. And there was a whole episode about how she was being too stubborn and she needed to ask for help, and so she ends up doing, and they all help, and I remember that. It's pretty early on. And yeah, the whole point was that it was awful that Applejack had to do all that work by herself. That was the whole point of that episode. I mean, no, the whole point of that episode was you need to not be stubborn and ask for help. But the episode hammered in over and over and over how much it was screwing with her and how much it was unhealthy that she was harvesting the field by herself. I think we're finally going to give a lamentation. I'm actually kind of sad about that. Because, as I've said many times, lamentations are not guaranteed. There's no such... It's not like there has to be a lamentation per show, right? And you know what's really messed up? Is this is by the same person who wrote Flutterbrudder. The other episode I wanted to give the lamentation label to. Wow. I mean, that's still impressive. Only one lamentation per show. For a whole show. That's pretty impressive, but... yeah. There it is. Next week. So yeah, sorry Darth Medoro, I apologize. Next week is what do we got? Again, episode, I don't know, Student Council, whatever that is, and The Last Crusade, which is probably going to be a Crusaders episode, which I have hope for that. I do, because, you know, generally speaking, I've showed this throughout this whole thing. Generally speaking, I tend to like the Crusader episodes. They tend to be higher quality in general. They tend to hit good points. So either way, that's next week, next Sunday. I got some work to do, so I'm gonna go get to work. I'll see you next time.